We heard this cliche about batch and real time number of times, but what exactly is it? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios and we're going to discuss whether a batch interface will be better or a real time interface will be better. Let's say you are making a system for Amazon.com and some customer, he comes to your website and he submits submits an order. He looks for a book, then he submits an order. To be precise, he comes pretty much here. Oh. Okay, so what do you think, which interface will you implement? Because your system which has the records for order fulfillment, which basically receives the record, is a different system, and and where customer clicks is a different system. So the system which receives the record from customer is a different system, that is where he is entering the record on the website. Then the system which is backend system where the order is fulfilled is a different system. So if you consider this scenario, then from the order entry system to order fulfillment system, there is a possibility of an interface, whether it should be a batch interface or it should be a real-time interface. That precisely is the question. So the entry system, let's say. Okay, this is the GUI, this is the business logic layer of that system, this is the database. So this is your order fulfillment. These are the three layers for that one. So data has to go from here to here. That is the whole idea of an interface. So this interface is what we are talking about. Okay. We call it order submission to the backend system, whatever you want to call it, order submission interface. So when customer comes here, he clicks here, the order goes here, then from here it goes to the other database. Question is whether it should be real time or batch. Answer is, see, you have to see whether it is mission critical for you that the people who are working here, the people who are working using this system or fulfilling the order basically, is it mission critical for them to send it right away, start working on it right away? For example, as you said, if the customer here has asked for premium shipping, that is next day delivery, then it might be an important thing that the data goes to these guys immediately, to these guys, to this system, right? If the person here, the customer here, has asked for maybe 5-day shipping, then the data can go here and then wait here in terms of a transaction. So here in the database itself, there is a way to mechanism. There are separate tables for that. They are called as EIM tables in Siebel, and they keep the data with them. And eventually, in the night or sometime, whenever the data that is transferred using a batch job to this thing. Okay. So idea is we're trying to get a feel of batch and real time. So let's consider another scenario. Let's say customer is buying something and there is another system. There is another system in the backend. That system is a product availability, the product inventory system. So when the customer comes here and he submits a product availability request, he wants to know before buying whether the product is available or not. He clicks and the request is basically supposed to go, in this case, to this system. To this system. My question to you is whether this interface should be real-time or batch. Yeah. So let's think about it. The answer is real-time. Let's come to the conclusion why. Because it is very important for the customer to know right away whether that thing is available or not. So it should be a real time, right? Other thing is, let's say there is a system, another system, which is appointment system. Okay, and customer calls to find out whether the technician can come to meet with him on Saturday. So that means when customer clicks here, says whether what times are available, then that system should go and check into this system and make sure that it gets the data immediately and sends it back to the customer. So if you see so that is a real-time system. So let's try to understand one more salient feature of real-time. When he submits a check availability request, that request gets immediately sends a request here, and then immediately a response comes, and immediately that same request gets fulfilled. Not even for a minute that it has to stay in the system. That is the real meaning of real-time. Batch means the transaction gets accumulated here in a table or something, and then eventually this badge will pick up that data and then submit it to the target system. So if you see at hotmail.com, if you go to hotmail.com, you will see that this both these ideas are applicable. Let's say you sign up for a new Hotmail account. You click get it free, and okay, so now let's say you want to sign up. Let's say you put a request here. Suresh, check availability. This check availability will pretty much work like this system. When you click here, it will the customer is clicking here, it will go to the product availability and see whether this Windows ID is available or not. Is it right?
Yeah.
See, it says, do you think this information you could afford to get, maybe as a customer you could afford to get maybe 15 minutes down the line? The answer is no. The customer cannot wait and he wants the answer right away. So as a designer, if the customer is putting this information, as a designer, you need to make sure that your interface checks into this system in a real-time manner, right? Into the other system real-time manner. So similarly, if you go to amazon.com, the product availability buttons, they all work in the same manner. Basically, it if it is not available, it will prompt you itself. Like, had it not been available, it would have come here like just right now. This means that this has already made that real-time query. So when you, or maybe when you click on add to shopping cart, it will show if it is not available. See, it is not shown that means it is available, right? If it is gone right, so that means it's available. So all this, when you clicked on the add to cart, it did a lot of work. It didn't only add the product to the cart. Here in this system, it added to the cart. It also checked the availability by going to this thing. Immediately it came back and let it go to the cart. So that whole logic has two logics. One is adding it to the cart, second is checking for the availability. So important thing is it a good idea for customer to add some product here and then after 15 minutes he should come to know that this product is not available? Answer is, this is not a good idea. Good idea is the customer finds out immediately whether this product he can buy immediately or not. So we need to implement a real-time interface with the product inventory system, whatever, okay. So we are coming close to the ideas of batch and real time. Now we understand, we have a better feeling of batch and real time. Some other batches interfaces, for example, when Amazon is, let's say when you buy it, then Amazon needs to charge your credit card $169. There are two possibilities there. One is it can charge immediately. Second is it can block the money but actually charge it only after 2 days. In fact, that's what Amazon does. If you guys all notice, your credit cards are charged after 1 or 2 days. Reason is there's a lot of cost to real-time interfaces. They are very costly. They are about 5 times more costly than the EAM interfaces or the batch interfaces. So people try to be frugal there. They try to be a little stingy in implementing real-time interfaces. Real-time interfaces. They try to keep batch interfaces usually. So in case there is some requirement where you need a real-time interface, they try to see what component of it requires a real-time interface. They break the transaction into 2 or 3 components and only achieve the most important by real time, and they try to do the rest by batch. So this is the example there. What they will do is they will immediately block this money and they will put a temporary transaction, but they will actually charge it only after 2 or 3 days. So that's what they have done. They basically break the component. If you see your bank statement, you see some temporary transactions. That's what they are, right? Similarly, this idea of breaking, looking at the whole transaction, looking at this whole transaction and seeing if it can be broken up into 2 or 3 pieces, and then only real-time piece has to be implemented in the real time, and then rest of the pieces should be done in batch. This is one analysis that a BA can do. Okay, so this is one permutation combination. I'll write it here. Right? We talked about this, right? This is one thing we have talked about now. Let me talk about some other things also. There is a thing called as near real-time interface. This is a very interesting kind of interface. See, again, people are trying to save money. They want to implement, they know that they have to implement real time, but what they try to implement a batch interface through a batch. What they do is, instead of running a real-time interface, they collect the data and they run a batch only after just maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes and 15 minutes. So every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they will run the batch. Okay. So instead of usually the batch interface, are run, the typical batch requirements that we did so far, they're typically run in like once in a day, twice in a day, 3 times in a day. But what I'm going to talk about now is a real time, we call it near real time. For example, that premium shipping case. So if the customer enters a premium shipping request, you guys all know, still it does not need to go right away. It can wait for 15 minutes. That's not a big deal. If it is less than 4 hours, 4 o'clock is the overnight shipping time, so on and so forth. If you get the request before 4 o'clock, you have to submit it. So around 3:30, it becomes mission critical for system to receive it right away. But if it is 11 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the morning, then even the premium shipping request from the customer can be done in a real-time batch. Near real-time batch is the term that I've just taught you. Okay. So this is another thing that. All right.
This is regarding flow, means that we are discussing basically flow. In flow, then
this is in between. This is less costly because you are implementing only like few batches. Right. So if you implement batch, see, basically what happens is
after 12 hours.
Yeah, it is very costly. It is quite costly. So near real time in batch interface is like somewhere in the middle as far as cost is concerned. This is another very interesting concept. A typical example of, let me give the example of breaking the whole transaction into pieces. It comes to my mind for Skype. If you charge Skype, if you charge like Reliance India call or some some calling card, you will see that it will immediately let you know there are 3 portions to it. One is it will check whether money is available in your account or not. Second is it will block the money. Third is it will actually charge the money. In case of Amazon.com, it immediately checks whether the money is there or not. It immediately blocks. I think it is very mission critical for you to check whether the money is available or not right away. Is it right? But guess what? To save money, some of the companies don't even do that. Idea is, I'm trying to give you the possible combinations of all the 3. That businesses are not just, they're creative. They look at their needs and do the right thing. They are not just working on the ideal. Their ideal is not defined by what is the best thing in the world. Their ideal is defined by their needs, their business, and their money they have. You see, so Skype is a company which in fact does not even check whether you have the money or not right away. In case of Skype, you can charge it. You can start using Skype. After 30 minutes, you will get an email. You can use it. Hey, you know what? There was no money in your account, and yes, it happens. Yeah, after 30 minutes you get an email, there was no money in your account, so we have disabled your account. So for 30 minutes you can use it like this. That's one point. Other thing is, in case of some companies, I have seen that they implement various pieces of this thing and they don't implement certain other pieces. These guys are creative. They try to do the things according to their needs. They really try to scale it, what they have, money versus the benefit, cost versus the benefit. They have a very good understanding of that, and they can do it again and again. So these are some of the concepts. I'll go do my work.